Good evening and welcome to Nilla South. Thank you for joining me this evening as we venture into making king cakes. I am relatively new to making king cakes. I think this is about my fourth cake to make. So just to say that you can easily pick this up and you'll be able to successfully make a king cake hopefully by the end of this episode. And as they say in Louisiana, laissez le bon temps rouler. Okay, so we're going to start our recipe with 7 cups of bread flour. That is, bread flour is a little lighter than a regular flour, so that is better for this recipe. It'll make it a little bit fluffier. I'm sorry, 9 cups of flour. We'll start with 9 cups of bread flour for our recipe. And then we will add in 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. You want to get the quick rise yeast for this recipe. So make sure that you get that, don't get the traditional yeast, get the one that says quick rise on there. That's 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. Then we will come into this with going to mix that in just a little bit. And then we'll come in here with 1 tablespoon of salt. Three teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Excuse my blue fingers. I've been messing with blueberries, so you'll see where that comes in just a minute. And then we are now ready to incorporate our wet ingredients. With the milk, you want to warm your milk up. Even though the milk is going directly into the flour mixture, you want to make sure that you do get this warm because it will help activate that yeast. That's 2 cups of warm milk, and I do need to warm that just a second. I'm going to warm it about a minute. Anytime that you're working with the yeast, the temperature that you're looking for is lukewarm. So not hot, but not cold, lukewarm. And I always kind of compare that to the temperature whenever you would bathe a baby and you check the bath with your wrist and you make sure that it doesn't burn you because you wouldn't want it to be too hot for the baby or too warm for the baby. That's the same temperature that you're looking for when you're working with yeast. It's very delicate. So if you go hotter than that, you're going to kill the active ingredients and it won't work. So very important. I learned that lesson the hard way, by the way. Hard way. A long time ago. Tick, 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 tick. Oh, let's see what happens. Yes, ma'am. All right, so here we are, and I do have this milk now lukewarm, and we'll get started mixing our warm and our dry ingredients. I do have to keep my little handwritten, this is a combination of about 7 recipes. So, and then there's one thing that I added that was a little different. So I'll tell you what that is whenever we get to it. So we'll come here with our KitchenAid. And I'm going to go ahead and put my dry ingredients here. I made one of these last night and I had some friends over, Miss Brittany, Miss Braley, and truly enjoyed visiting so much, but whenever I visit, when I'm making recipes, sometimes I just put extra stuff or I might leave something out because I love to visit so much. But nothing makes me happier than having people sitting at the bar while I cook, and I'm happy to feed you. It's one of my favorite things. So we'll come here. I now have this milk. It is perfectly lukewarm. That was 1 minute. We're 2 cups of milk to get it to that perfect lukewarm temperature. So I'm going to come here and come in with that milk. Ooh, I'm spilling. I'm spilling, y'all. Britney Spears from 19, whatever, proving my age. Okay, so I have the milk in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in the butter. 1 stick of butter. We're gonna come in here with 1 full stick of butter that is slightly melted. It's easily gonna break into this, so. Very soft, so it will easily incorporate. You don't want a hard stick of butter. This is the weekend, so I actually thawed the butter. I'm pretty excited about it. That into there. Start mixing that in slowly. Put 9 cups of butter in a KitchenAid. 9 cups of flour, sorry, and it is very full. Worked at a pizza place in high school, and we had one of those huge industrial mixers, and it was my job to mix the dough. So I would, well, it was everybody's job, but one of my jobs was to mix the dough. And I remember going in on the weekends and just mixing these big vats of dough. It was so fun. Letting it sit. Here is my honey. And I greased my measuring cup. That way I don't waste any honey. If you kind of grease your measuring cup, put a little oil in it, your honey will come out much easier. That way you don't waste. Because honey is like liquid gold right now. It's so expensive. All right. And then 2 eggs. So I'm also going to come in here with 2 eggs. It doesn't really matter what your liquid ingredients, you just put them in whatever order. It's not important how you do that. Oh, that was funny. And then we're gonna let this do what it does. I'll bring you over here for like a front row seat to the KitchenAid. And it will eventually form a ball of dough. A king cake is a very dense dough, so it is not a light dough mixture when you're making it. Just the way that looks versus some loaves of bread, depending on how light they are. Like if it's not an enriched loaf of bread, it'll be fluffier. But a king cake is a very dense dough. Take a look at this. Scrape the sides down just a little bit. And I'm gonna lock my KitchenAid. I'm really bad at that. Sometimes I don't. Oh, it just comes back undone. This thing is 20 years old. If you haven't heard me talk about it, it's had a rough ride with me. So can't be easy. Can't be easy being my mixer. I've never had a hand mixer that survived me more than a year. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look, and it's a little crumbly here at the bottom, so I'll sort of flip this. You will have to use your hands. My hands are clean. Okay, oh yeah. Okay, so this is having a little bit of issue getting the bottom is not incorporating very well, and so I kind of have like a little hack that I do with any dough, any type of bread dough. Whenever it seems just a little dry like this and it's having issues incorporating, I did put about 2 cups of milk, but I was using a different jug. I didn't really use a measuring cup, so I might not have put enough milk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to add a little tad of milk, but I'm going to let it go down to the bottom of the mixer. Just a little tiny bit, not too much. And what it will do is that milk will go down there and get those crumbs at the bottom and help it incorporate. That's the general plan. See if it happens. I do that with breads, but depending if it's a bread without milk, I'll put just like a tablespoon of water at a time, or a teaspoon of water at a time, until it starts incorporating everything. Yep, it's doing it. It's doing what it's supposed to do, y'all. Woo! Dough's getting a wild ride right there. All right, tiny bit more. That probably is the 2 cups of milk now. I don't measure very well. I'm not real faithful with it sometimes, but I have been trying to measure just because I'm sharing recipes. So I know that if you were going to redo this, you probably need to have some type of measurement. You hear it? It's about to blow up. Okay. I'm going to let it go just a minute longer. And then, oh yeah, baby. Yep, yep. Woo! Yes. That, I'm going to say that's done because I feel like it's getting kind of crazy. Okay, so I will take that dough, take this dough hook off. I don't know if I feel good about it. I think it needs to go a second more, just I'm looking for a different texture. So even though it's a little crazy because my mixer doesn't lock, I'll let it go just a minute more. So I would at least let this kind of incorporate for 5 minutes. I want a white KitchenAid, but I'm too like practical and cheap to buy something when something's not broken. So I've just made a go of it with this red one. I really want a white one, but this one is not broken and it will not be replaced until it is. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. And now this dough is going to need to rise a little. It's gonna need to do its first rise. So, and I love to play with dough. Maybe that's how I ended up doing so much baking. It's like Play-Doh basically. And so here is this dough. And it's pretty big. This is gonna get big. I made a king cake last night that probably weighed 20 pounds. It was huge. Okay, so we'll take this, and that bowl is oiled. And then we are going to cover it with a towel. Give it a little spray because it makes my towel not get all sticky. Cover this. And we will let that take a little nap. It's gonna rest for, I would say about an hour and a half. I'm gonna leave this alone for about an hour and a half and let it rest. Okay, we're now gonna begin with the blueberry filling that I plan on putting in here. It's gonna have blueberry and cream cheese in this particular king cake. Some people like the traditional or the plain king cake, but this one is gonna have some filling in it. I think the more filling, the better. But some people are very traditional about that, so it's really just your personal taste. One that doesn't have filling, I call that a cinnamon roll. But everybody has different opinions about that. So we're gonna come in here with this skillet right here. Okay, so I am here. I realized in my video that I had left out the blueberry filling, or was not recording whenever I did the blueberry filling. So I just want to show you how that's done. This filling is also like amazing if you ever wanted to use it with the biscuit recipe. That was in one of the previous episodes. It's an amazing recipe. People will be very impressed if you make this blueberry filling. It's super easy to make as well. So this is about 2 cups of blueberries. You can use frozen. And I'm going to turn my heat on high. While that's warming up, I'm going to take some cornstarch, just regular old cornstarch. And this is going to taste basically kind of like a homemade jelly. But it's something you can make like right before you would eat breakfast, or as a filling for cakes. It's delicious. It could even go on toast. So I'm going to take a hearty, this is a little over a tablespoon of cornstarch. Put it in here. And I'll probably do another half. So about 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. And this can be adjusted later if it doesn't meet your needs. Like you can make it thicker or thin it out. It's one of those things you can easily fix. So I have those blueberries heating up. And while they're heating up, and I'm going to come in here with about 3/4 cup of sugar. Give that a good stir. Coat those blueberries with the sugar. Y'all, this is so good. If you make it, people will be impressed, I promise you. Okay, while that's warming up, I'm going to take that 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, maybe closer to 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to mix that with some water. You want to do this with cool water. Okay, if you do it with warm water, you're going to have a bunch of lumps. So just do that and just like mix it up. It's going to look like a cup of milk when you finish it. Okay, that's starting to get warm. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put this into my pan. Now here you could add, like if you wanted to add blueberry flavor, a little bit of vanilla, you could even do that. I'm not doing that, but you can. I just want it to taste like blueberries. I will use this in the king cake as part of the filling. It'll go with the cream cheese. Then while that starts cooking down, because I will be piping this, I don't want these blueberries to be like in their regular form. I don't want to smush them down a little bit. So I'm going to take potato masher without scratching my pan. And I'm just going to go around and kind of squish the blueberries a little bit. Okay, and then you'll start warming up and cooking down. A little blueberry piece. It's going to come to a good boil. Just let it go. Start to cook down. Okay, and you see how whenever I scrape the middle, how it kind of stays open and takes a little while to fill it back up? That's kind of what we're looking for. This is so good. And as it thickens, that'll actually even take longer. So consistency. Because we are going to be piping this into it, I need to be like liquid enough to be able to pipe. But I also don't really want it like as thick as a jam. So be more like a loose jelly consistency. And once that I turn the fire off, it will cool and it'll get thicker as it cools. Settles. Smells so good. Like, there is nothing that can make this taste bad. It's blueberries, sugar, and water. It's just very simple. A little bit of cornstarch. Okay, that's it. That's that rolling boil that you're looking for. Let it go about a minute. And kill the fire. Give it a good scrape. This will thicken just a little bit as it cools. And I will be able to pipe this into the layers of the king cake. So I'm just kind of showing you that so you can see how thick it is. It takes a little while to come off the spatula. And that is the blueberry filling. Okay, welcome back. We're now going to begin our glaze that we will decorate these king cakes with. So I'll show you kind of what goes into the glaze, including the secret ingredient that I replaced milk to put in this, which kind of makes it even better. Okay, so we'll come over here and I'll show you what all we do. Try to get my ingredients ready ahead of time because I think this goes a little smoother. Right here I do have, I think I went with 5 cups of powdered sugar. Put that there, not there. And then we are going to add in, I'm going to start mixing this by hand and then it'll go into the mixer. I'll put it on the mixer in just a minute. So that, I'm going to add in, I'd say 1/2 teaspoon of salt. A little bit of salt. Just a little smidge of butter. A little butter that is softened. It was melted, but it's not anymore. And then we're gonna put milk. I would start with 1/4 cup of milk. This isn't even 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna stir and watch the consistency, because what I'm really looking for is something that starts to look like an icing consistency. And so this is definitely still powdery. So I know that I need more milk. In here, it doesn't take a lot of milk, a lot of any kind of liquid. When you're messing with powdered sugar, it will just disintegrate. Powdered sugar is just sugar, and if you would put it like in a blender and blend it really well for about 5 minutes, it turns into powdered sugar. But it's a lot fluffier consistency, so it doesn't take much liquid to make it shrink back down and kind of change its form. Okay, so we're getting a little more like a doughy, so I definitely need more liquid. Now, I will put a splash of splash of almond. I'm just gonna put like a drop or two, because almond is a very powerful extract. You don't want to put a lot of that. It really changes things. It's powerful. I'm also going to put a tiny bit of vanilla. It's vanilla. It's about a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, this is where you want to invite Jack or Jim to the party. And I can tell you I'm not much of a whiskey drinker, because this is the size. So I use this kind of like an extract, and you're not really going to taste the whiskey, but you will taste a little bite on this icing with old Jack Daniels. He's coming to visit. I'm going to put about a tablespoon to start with. The smell of this, when you put that almond and that vanilla and old Jackie boy in there, changes things. Okay, a little more of the secret ingredient, probably about 1 more tablespoon. Stop, I know, don't judge me, it's just for flavor. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get that. Now I have like a ball of dough. So I definitely don't have the right consistency, because I want to be able to pipe this and decorate with it, and I want it to have an easy flow. So it needs more milk. Put just a little bit. And if you would go the wrong direction and make it too runny, you just add flour or sugar, you can fix it. If it's too thick, you can add water or milk, you can fix it. So it's very fixable when you're messing with this particular icing. It's fixable. It's not over if you mess up a little bit. So we'll come in here, put this in here, and I'm gonna let the mixer have a go at this and see how creamy it gets. And then I think I'm gonna have to add a little bit more liquid, but I could be wrong. So lift that up, give it a, well, it's still on. Okay. Let's spackle the walls here. All right, so it is a very thick, I would maybe use that like at Christmas time to line the outside of a Christmas cookie, but this is not what you would call I think they call that a flow, where it just kind of is easily gonna pipe. This would not easily pipe. Decision here is, are we coming with milk or are we coming with whiskey? There's always a decision you have to make about this. So I think I'm gonna come with a little bit of this, a little bit more. I mean, the bottle's almost empty. Okay, so that's about 2 tablespoons of whiskey altogether in this. The smell is so good. Such a good smell. Oh yeah, getting really close. I guess I'll put a little milk this time. Let's share the love with the calcium. Give it some vitamins. This will be very healthy. And it's not the right consistency because, I'll show you this. This is important. I'll show you this little tip or trick. If you ever want something to really just flow, and I'm going to turn this mixer on, and if you look, you can kind of see the imprint of the mixer, like the blending thing. It gets kind of like stuck, and it stays wherever the mixer just was. It leaves an imprint. Because of that, it's a little too stiff. If it was closer to that flow state, it wouldn't do that as much. So I'm going to put just a little bit more milk, and just throw milk everywhere. Incorporate the sides. Yeah, we're definitely splash more. Just a splash. Look, it's exactly what I put in this little jar. So got that one right. Got that one right. Now, this is going to be perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. Mix it around. And voila. Look at this. I don't know where you're at or who you are, but this is going to be delicious. Alrighty. We will come here, and I will separate this out into different parts that I will then pipe, put into the piping bags, because that's going to be piped on the finished product, which we have a minute before that happens, but you can see what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to save some of the white. I'm not going to use it all in the purple, green, and gold, or purple, green, and yellow. We'll save just a little bit of that. It smells so good. So we'll come in here with our first, we'll go purple. This is a gel. It's a food coloring gel, which is different than just a traditional food coloring because it's not really going to change the consistency of, if you get regular food coloring, it would work, but just keep it a little bit dry, because when you add in that, it's a liquid. You're adding a liquid to it. And that's our purple. It's a decision if we want more purple or if we're good with that purple. I'm going to go a little bit more purple. I like to make a statement with all my whole 4 king cakes that I've made. Okay, so here is my purple. That's going to be good. And then I'm going to come in with some yellow. I'm low on yellow, so I might have to, we'll be able to make it. It's not really hard to turn something white. Like yellow doesn't have to be a super crazy yellow. We'll just put a little yellow in there. Oh goodness, it's time for more yellow. So I'll put my yellow in there, and that's just going to have to do. It's like when you're last to use the toothpaste. You got as many kids as we had, and you just had to figure it out. All right, so this yellow is the brightness that will have to work. So we have that represents our gold. Purple, gold, and green. Look at this. You know what that looks like? A celebration. So we'll come in here with a green. I do have some green, so I could get crazy with the green. We are not in a shortage of green. This is just a primary green. I had a neon green. I think I'm going to go with the primary green. My purple, my gold, and my green. That would be the colors. Okay, purple, gold, green. All right, so now we have our dough rising, first rise, cream cheese filling, blueberry filling. We have the icing that we will decorate this with. We also have this bedazzle sugar that I'm gonna put at the end. It gives it like a little shimmer shine and just makes it fabulous. So we're gonna put that to the side. That is also gonna join the party. And then the last thing that we'll have over here is, my counter's getting to be a mess. We're going to make the filling that'll actually go, see if this will do. We're gonna make the filling that's actually gonna go on top of the king cake before we start. After we roll it out, we'll put this on there. This is very similar. It's pretty much the same thing that you would use for a cinnamon roll. So whenever you do cinnamon rolls, you put the butter and the brown sugar, and then you spread that. Same concept right here. So I said if you don't have a filling, I feel like it's just a big cinnamon roll, but that's just me. I'm not judging. All right, so we'll come in here with this goodness, this butter, and this brown sugar, and I just made a mess. Okay, and I'll kind of show you what we'll do first. Okay, so we'll bring this in, and this is our king cake dough after it has risen, and it is rather large. I mean, business with this. We might actually, this is a double batch, so it'll be a really big king cake. I'm probably going to separate just a little bit out because it may be too big to even fit in the box if I would use all of this. And we would definitely find a good use for that dough. I made a small one last night and a really big one, and the big one probably weighed 20 pounds. It was huge. Okay. Last night's king cake is on its way to Texas, and I am hoping that they will enjoy that. Okay, so this is a double batch, like I said, and I'm going to go ahead and separate out a little of this, or it will be too big to even work with. This is a very dense dough. So this is about what I'm going to keep, and then this is the one that I will separate out, and I'll probably make a small king cake and have some folks over with coffee in the weather. So that's the small one. Because believe it or not, we're down to one piece of the one from last night. We had company, and it was amazing. Okay, so we have this, and what you want to do is put this in a rectangle. So I always go like round because I'm so used to doing breads, but that's not what you want to do. You want to go a rectangle with king cake dough. This part of king cake making has been the biggest learning process. So if anything, this has been the curve. The rest of it is pretty similar to bread making. I mean, a nice, beat that up. Okay, that's good. That's wonderful. All right, so I have this rectangle. So fun. It's like playing with Play-Doh. All right, and now I'm going to take my rolling pin. So we'll roll this out. And I want to roll it in 3 narrow strips. I don't think I ever even tried a king cake when I was in high school. I don't think I had a king cake until I was in college and I had a job. And I think that was the first time I'd ever had it. And I was so poor, and I prayed that I didn't get the baby, because then you had to buy the next king cake. So kind of funny. I remember being like, do I really want a piece of that? Because, oh Lord, we was counting quarters for milk in college. Okay. I think I was an adult whenever I first had king cake dough. Didn't have that growing up. The family personally we didn't do Mardi Gras. It was Southern Baptist. We just never did any Mardi Gras festivities. Okay, that is not, I want to go narrow and long. And once I warm this, you know, get it kind of warmed up, rolling it, it'll be a lot easier. It just takes a minute when you roll a dough. And it's such a dense dough, it really is. This is new to me, working with a dough that's this dense. Another thing that's really funny is in college, I remember having these, and because the dough is brown, and that was like back when you thought if you eat wheat and something that's low fat or whatever, that it was just so good for you. And super funny because I thought that king cakes were wheat. They indeed are not wheat flour at all. That is not true. And that little hint of brown is from all the cinnamon and it's got a tinge of nutmeg, but this is not whole wheat. It's not what this is. I also thought that the bread at Outback was healthy when I was young. I thought that was really good for you. It's just straight up white flour and molasses and all kind of good stuff in there. So that's definitely not wheat bread, girl. Super funny. And it's working, it's spreading out. It's just taking a minute. And the reason I want it to be long and narrow is for the braids. Because basically it is going to be like, I mean, you know, you think of braiding hair, but you're going to be braiding dough. So you need it to be long and narrow. Now we're getting somewhere. It had to warm, that gluten was just really, really tight. I think that's, takes a little to get that going. I'm gonna go a little bit wider with it. Okay. So we'll go ahead and cut this in 3 to stuff it. If you're not stuffing it, you don't have to do this step, but we are stuffing it, so therefore we do, because we need it to be delicious. I'm gonna spread this out a little more here and a little more here, because that is needed for what I'm about to do. All right, baby. All right, 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna go 1, just gonna eyeball it. We're not gonna be a perfectionist. That's not what we do. 1. Awesome thing is it's gonna taste good no matter what. I did a little curve there on purpose. Don't judge me. Okay, so once that we get there, this is what you would put like in cinnamon rolls. This is butter and brown sugar goodness. And then I'm gonna spread this. But I'm not gonna go all the way to the edges. You need to leave a little rim so you don't make a big old mess. And I made Braylee laugh. Braylee had a good laugh. I had company last night when I was cooking. That was fun. I enjoyed cooking and people eating the goodies that I make as I cook them. They were my test subjects, I guess. It was pretty awesome, and we got to hang out. All right, so I'm gonna come here with this, and you're gonna spread it almost like a runway. Each one of these 3, you're gonna put the cinnamon and brown sugar goodness. This is a very hard piece of brown sugar. It's just very hard. I don't know if I want it in there. Brown sugar, basically, if you're ever running out of brown sugar, it is just sugar with a little bit of molasses mixed into it. I think it's like a tablespoon of molasses per, don't make me lie to you, I'd have to Google it, but you just mix in a little bit of molasses. So if you ever run out of brown sugar and you just have white sugar, you can easily make brown sugar. It's doable. It's not hard at all. You just can't have enough butter and brown sugar. But I feel like I can't put, that's what I did last night. I'm getting out of control. You can't put too much because it's gonna get messy. It's gonna be delicious, but it's a little harder to get it together and braid if it's too messy. Okay, so now I did put my blueberry jam goodness in a bag. I think I'm gonna go cream cheese first. I'm gonna go cream cheese first. I did this last night with a spoon, and I decided then that I was going to pipe it because I really think it's gonna be easier and neater and better if I pipe it. So, and it doesn't have to be piped pretty. It's just basically just for me to be able to get it down the middle a little bit without making a big old mess. Oh, we need more than that. That's not gonna cut it. So we'll come in with this. Don't be shy. Don't be shy with that cream cheese frosting. I mean, that cream cheese filling. Nobody, I mean, I don't know. If you don't like filling, you don't like filling, but I like filling. So we're just going straight down the middle. Oh, y'all, wish it didn't have egg in it. I wish it didn't have egg in it because I would eat some of it. Okay. So there's a little bit of egg in it, and it's going to help it to gel and not just disintegrate. All right, I feel good about it. I'm going to let it go right there because every time I get too crazy, it just gets really messy and it's hard to close up. Layer, layer, layer. Now let's go with some blueberry. This blueberry, if I don't use all this blueberry, if you make that hot blueberry mixture and serve that with homemade biscuits, yes, you will be the queen or the king of something. Okay, so come here and I'm gonna go on top with some blueberries. It's just so beautiful. I can't wait to show my friend how much better this is. This was way messier last night, so it's all about getting better. All right. And I have a little bit of this brown sugar butter thing left over, but I'm not gonna get rid of it because I'll show you what happens later. I do have my oven heating up to 325. Normally I would do 350. My oven kind of runs hot, and so I don't want it to be doughy. I want it to be all the way ready. I mean, all the way done in the middle. Okay, this is where it gets tricky, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to, look, I have a little tear. It's very forgiving though. If anything tears, it is forgiving because it's dough. And you just can squeeze it and repair it. Okay. So I think I shouldn't have started in the middle. And I think I learned that lesson last night too. But I did. I started straight up in the middle. It's okay. All right, and then I'm gonna go, basically I'm making this, squeezing all my little dough to enclose all of that goodness. Trap it, trap that goodness to get in your belly. All right. See, I got a little blueberry right here. It's okay though. It's gonna be very forgiving, very forgiving. As long as I have more dough than blueberry to be able to close it up, I'll be fine. This takes a little time. It takes a little time. That's what people charge an arm and a leg for these bad boys. They're not fast to make. If they're stuffed, not the stuffed ones. The other ones are not too bad. This would be, we'd be braiding. We'd almost be done right now if this was the other one. But we are going to be a little more extra than that. Blueberry Palooza over here. See, this is what I do. This is what I do. I get out of control and I put too much business in there and it's hard to close it. But it's okay. Just watch me go. I can take a little bit of that out. If you do this, just come in and take a little out because I got a little crazy. Get that blueberry off my hands. And you will be icing in this, so like how there's a little bit of the blueberry goodness, it's okay. It's fine. As long as you can kind of close it where the whole thing just didn't bust, you know, open and then all the good stuff pours out. That's sad. That happened to me. That's happened to me. I've experienced it. It was devastating. Okay. So here's my first big, what I'm gonna call it. If I didn't have it so full, it would be easier to do this for real, but that's not who I am. Okay, I'm actually going to put a little bit of warm water on my hands and kind of make sure that these seams or together as well as they can be. A little bit of moisture because I don't want it to open up. Do not want that because the goodness comes out. It's important to me. Okay, Shad, this is what we're going to do now. That is so good. All right. I have my pan, my handy dandy pan over there. I am going to braid this and then put it to a circle and then put it in my pan to bake. First, I am going to rub it with a little butter, a little brown sugar. Before I do that, get that golden brown thing going. All right, so who's going in the middle? I think I'm going to make this one, the first one I did, I think he's going in the middle because he's a little shorter and then he's wanting to bust open a little bit. So I'm going to go here, here, here. So but that one's longer. These are more the same. So this has to go in the middle. Okay. So we'll come here and at the end, you still with me here, camera? Okay. So at the end, we're going to put this together. Just like we're merging it. And then we're going to braid it. Put that together and make it like one. Okay. Then this will be my one. This guy is going to come over here. And then this guy's going to go way over here. Beautiful. Okay, and then this little dough braid is going to come over here, right? Okay, get it together, girl. All right. Then this is going to come in the middle. Just basically thinking about like braiding hair. Like I popped there's a little situation right here that I'm worried about. I'm going to patch it, but I don't know. We'll hope for the best. It's still going to be fine. It'll be delicious. I just don't want to lose any of that. Don't want to lose any of this goodness. I'm going to patch that. I don't even know if you're supposed to patch king cake, but I am doing that. I'm owning that. I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, that's going to be done. And then I'm going to come back under. And then I'm going to come back under here. Under here. I'm left with a little extra at the end with this one. And then we're going to come back together with all of this, twist it together and merge it to make our end. Okay, that's our end. Now, this is very, very chubby, wide. Okay, so I am going to stretch it out just a little bit because I kind of need to stretch it to be able to make my ring. So bear with me. I hope I'm still on camera. Yes, okay. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to just do like a little stretch. Don't be too aggressive. Don't get too crazy. This is going to get really big because when that yeast, the heat, it's going to activate. It's going to be a thing. All right. So I want to stretch it, but I don't want to accidentally tear it because that would be a tragedy and I might cry. Okay. So that is done. Then we're going to come and we're going to make our beautiful little ring. And then this, you have no idea how big this thing's going to get. It's going to be huge. Put that together like a wreath. And then we're going to do a little spread because it has to have a hole in the middle. And my last one was so big, it barely had a hole in the middle. It was huge. I don't know how to do things little or normal. All right. So there we go. I think we're ready to put that in a pan. So we'll get the pan, have some wax paper, and I'm going to get this stuff off my hand. All right, party people. And there's a little blueberry coming out. It's okay. Nobody panic. It's going to be okay. It really is. It's going to be fine. As long as there's just not big gaping holes all over it, it's okay. All right. Now, oh, where you at? Still with me? Okay. So now I'm going to oil this You know, it has parchment paper because I'm not up to cleaning this big old thing tonight. So I'm gonna do this, and I have my oven on 325 because I have an oven that runs a little hot. Okay, this is hard. We're gonna take this big old thing and we're going to put it over there, but we can't have it like lose too much integrity. Okay. I think I actually folded it in the pan last night, so oh well, girlfriend. All right, so to make this happen and not be a tragedy, I'm gonna borrow this plate to help me. Oh yeah, here we are. Okay, so we are here with our king cake, and I need it to have more of like a hole in the middle, so this is just a live and learn thing. And here, make sure this is meshed together because it needed to stay together. That's super important. Okay, that is together. All right, and then I'm gonna push it sort of up here to where maybe it wouldn't come undone in this whole process. I do not want it to come undone at the top. That would be super upsetting. The rest is fixable. Okay, there we go. And then I'm gonna take some of the remainder of my brown sugar and butter, and I'm gonna put that on there just a little. Get my little thingy over here. It's a little dust brush and the dust. Okay, did that. All right. Now, this is a baking that make usually my creme brulee or custard in these. And what I'm going to do with this is I am actually putting this in the middle to make sure that whenever it comes out and everything, that it doesn't close in on the middle of the cake. That was something I thought of last night whenever mine got so big that it started closing in on the middle. I think that little dish is going to be very helpful with that situation. And everything is ready to go. So I'm going to put this in the oven and then we'll be back to see how it looks and decorate it. Very excited. Thank you. Good evening and welcome back to Nilla South. We are now going to decorate the king cake. It has just come out of the oven. One step that I just didn't show you, I had a little leftover brown sugar and butter in the bowl, and I did pull the cake out about 5 minutes before it was completely baked and kind of glossed the top of the cake with that. It gave it kind of like a little bit of a brown look, but we'll cover all that up with the icing just so you know. And I did take the little bowl out of the middle. It's a bit of a struggle, but it's okay. Okay, it's worth it. It really was worth it because these are so thick and so big, and it'll kind of close in. So I'll show you what this looks like. This is very heavy. It is very big and very heavy. So this is the raw look of the finished king cake before we decorate. So show you, came out really nice. And that is brown sugar, the brown you see everywhere. But for the most part, it looks like the filling did stay in. And I believe putting it with seam side up helps keep that filling in the cake. So I think we are getting the hang of this finally. All right. So I am going to now transfer this bad boy into the box that I'll decorate it in. I'm going to decorate it directly in the box that it'll go into. And I do have some wax paper down that I will be able to pull out, and that will allow me to decorate it without kind of messing up the whole box. So excited about that. All right, the transfer of the cake is always a little stressful for me, but we are gonna do it. We're gonna get it. All right, so I'm gonna lift the cake from here. And we're gonna put it here, but we don't want this piece of paper. Oh yeah, baby. We pulled that off. Okay, so we will put that there. I'll move this pan out of the way. All right, I have my little wax paper, and I have the caramelized brown sugar on the sides. Oh, y'all, my goodness, my goodness. All right, I wanted a little more wax paper over here to kind of make the box not get too messy. It's just a little trick I've learned over the years is I'm kind of messy, apparently. All right, so maybe I can give you a better view while we do this part. Okay, so here is the king cake, and in order for this box to close, it kind of has to go over here all the way. And there are all kind of different ways to decorate these. I've seen people just glob it on. I've just seen a little bit of everything as I've done this infinite amount of research that I've put into how to do this. Okay, I'm novice, I'm new. If I can do it, anybody can do these. Okay, right. So here is my icing, and I'm gonna pipe this on pretty heavy. Does not have to be. You don't have to be an artist, because this is just gonna get prettier and prettier. Oh, that caramelized brown sugar is like my favorite, and I don't know if most people brush this with the brown sugar. It's just the thing I do, and it's so good. So if they don't, oh well. Okay. So this white will kind of be more of a palette. Now I'll remove all of these, the tissue paper at the end, and it just gives her a cleaner look like around the cake. So the white is a bit of a palette basically. So I put a little heavy with the white. Oh my goodness, the smell. And this one is not for me, so I cannot taste this one. But, and I don't need to because we've eaten king cake so much because I've been working on these, and we have been the testers of the king cakes. So I'm gonna have to start getting rid of these babies because we can't just live on king cake. It's not gonna go well. All right, so that was my white, and that's a bit of like a palette. And then we get to decide what we want to do next. I think I'm gonna do yellow next. It's kind of whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. I'm here with my yellow, and my yellow. Done with the yellow. And now we'll come in with the green. Now the purple. Just some purple. Purple. And then while this is wet, I will come here with my sugar sparkles. I have a little bling, just a little bling on my cake. It's gotta have a little sparkle. I'm throwing it. I don't know why I'm throwing it. It's Mardi Gras, throwing stuff. Okay, have that done. And now to pull out the paper without making an absolute, it's just gonna maybe make a mess. It might be a thing. See what happens. Oh, that's okay. I did okay there. A little plate here. All right. Okay. Yes. Yes. Looking good. So far, so good. This one. I have one that I'm leaving under the cake on purpose. It's not. Yeah, this is movable. That is movable. What is movable? That was movable. Okay, and then I have this middle. That's just gonna have a little icing in it. I think that's my only pieces that'll come out. No, I have one more that comes out. I think I do. Got a little nervous. It's not that one. It's somewhere right here. There we go. That comes out. Okay. And then, because we do have a little puddle right there, I'm probably just gonna fill that in. And I'm telling you, using that whiskey, that little 2 tablespoons of whiskey and this icing, as though it's sort of a, almost like you would do vanilla extract. So we have that, and then have that boxed up nicely, and I'll show you what happens next. I have the baby. Here's the baby. I have it wrapped, the baby, because I'm going to put him kind of to the side just in case, because it's a choke hazard. I guess I won't put that in there. Okay, so we'll take the baby, put it right here, just kind of set it in there. I don't even think I need to tape it. I put that in there. And I have my nice little beautiful box that and then I am gonna let this set and dry all the way, like, you know, kind of dry up before I close it, because it's gonna need a little bit more moisture to come off of it, but just to show you how cute my box is. So here's my box, and we have this beautiful king cake. Very excited. All right, thank you. I wish I could taste it for you, but okay. So this is the blueberry and cream cheese stuffed cream. I'm stuck on my hand. This is the blueberry and cream cheese stuffed king cake, and thank you so much for joining me and cooking with me tonight. I'm excited to share this video. I think it's neat, and it's just part of our culture here in Louisiana, Mardi Gras and king cakes and all the fun things that go with that. So I'm excited that I have learned to make this, and I hope you all have a good night. Laissez le bon temps rouler.